academically well achieved. He had a lot of accolades honoring his achievements in school, but he was apparently quite the athlete. So I was starting to look through some of these newspaper articles. I don't know what half of these competitions are, to be perfectly honest with you, but the man was pretty spectacular. The one that most of you may be familiar with is the fact that he won the 100-yard dash at 9.9 seconds in 1940 at the Penn Relays. The man was fast. He was white lightning, you know, so there's just a lot more to him than before his military career, and that's also a part of what I'm digging into now. So I've been very fortunate there. Captain Ritter, he was drafted, his senior year while attending Dartmouth, and 4 months after that, he decided that he wanted to go to the Aviation Cadet School, the Air Cadet School Academy. And within 4 months of being drafted, they approved it. So what's funny about that is I have an honorable discharge on this man already. Once again, thanks to you, Janice. And I just thought it was funny because the man wasn't discharged, you know, so it was just cute to have it. But he got he got commissioned second lieutenant. It was August of 1942. And by the end of that year, he was deployed out to the early parts of the North African campaign. And I think something that speaks for this man's accomplishments is the fact that he went from second lieutenant to first lieutenant to captain in less than a year's time. He flew over 55 combat missions. Confirmed wise, I can at least say for sure 13 downed enemy aircraft in North Africa, with apparently more, while he then went back for another round in the European theater of operations. The man took out a Nazi sub. I don't know what's cooler than that, but he is, I can't say what I'm really thinking at the moment, but he just did remarkable things. He was a very heavily decorated soldier, and is somebody that should be honored, and is somebody that shouldn't be forgotten. And it just irritates me that this man has been forgotten. And I know all of us would want to have a legacy to pass on. And just think what this man must have been thinking those last few moments. It was a training flight accident, for God's sake, a freak snowstorm. The man didn't die in combat, and for that reason they think, why bother with this man? Well, now today, all of you know why we should bother with this man, why we should bother with every veteran, every person that does anything out of the extraordinary just because he can, or she can, or whoever can. We need to remember these people. So I printed off this. This was a letter that was sent to his wife after he died. They did a pretty good search where I can at least confirm quite a few accolades for this man. So I'm going to read these because, like I said, I didn't have time to memorize them. I've already explained he has the Distinguished Flying Cross. He has the Air Medal. He was awarded multiple times over. Let me get past all the clusters here. He got a whole bunch of clusters. The American Defense Service Medal, the American Theater Ribbon, the World War II Victory Ribbon. He has the European, African, Middle Eastern Theater Ribbon with 3 Bronze Service Stars for battle participation in the Sicily, Tunisia, and Naples campaigns. He has the Distinguished Unit Badge that was cited to his unit right in the middle of him taking down all these aircraft in July 30th of 1943. And that's just a touch of the iceberg of what this man did. So I'm trying to do him justice. A lot of people have been helping. Austin, Randy. I've made some new friends, the Dudkins. I'm not sure where you guys are, but thank you for your willingness to talk to me. And Randy, Jess, a lot of people have reached out, and it's spectacular. I had no idea so many people were interested in this, but I'm glad they are. And we have quite a collection we're getting put together. We are working on a few other projects about Captain Ritter, so we'll be sure to update you on all of that. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you. So, Janice?
I didn't memorize either. And I'm not used to speaking, so I'm a little nervous. But oops. Here's a little something for you.
Oh. It's $1 million bill. All right.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody, and I want to thank everybody for coming here. Back in 1946, an incredible man lost his life after an awe-inspiring career in World War II. bravely defending our country and working to keep ourselves safe. In a letter to my grandparents, Harry Truman wrote, in grateful memory of Captain Ritter, who died in the service of his country in the America area, April 26, 1946. He stands in the unbroken line of patriots who have dared to die that freedom might live and grow and increase its blessings. Freedom lives, and through it, he lives. And I might add, through it, Wrestler he lives, in a way that humbles the undertakings of most men. I never knew much about my Uncle Larry, except for I knew he was important. Enough so to have his picture on my wall, along with the letter from Harry Truman framed, and I have his flag in a glass case in our dining room. His story was buried with my mother, who spoke very fondly of him. But I never knew all the details of his incredible life. My brother was named after him, but sadly, I wish he was here today. He passed away at 41 from a heart attack. Our family is small. I had no aunts or uncles growing up and no cousins on the Ritter side of the family, so family history has faded away. Through dogged determination, perseverance, Rick has changed all that. He brought this amazing man back into our lives. Rick, we appreciate all the time and effort you've dedicated to uncovering Uncle Larry's story, as well as the attention you have brought to it, and the larger theme of remembering and honoring our veterans. There is a renewed interest that has brought a sense of pride to my family, and on behalf of us all, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
Thank you. So, if my daughter Maggie would please come up here for a moment. She's going to tell you what she's doing.
Right, so to honor today's event and to honor Captain Ritter, I decided to make American or veteran-themed bracelets for everyone who participated here today. And like my dad said, we can't forget people that do stuff like this, who do extraordinary things, and to ignore him simply because he didn't die in combat. So I decided to make these bracelets for everyone who came here today, and if you do not get a bracelet, I apologize. My time was a little limited, but if you do not get a bracelet, simply tell my dad and I will do my best to get bracelets out. And in case one of them breaks, on the back of your bracelets, they are burned together. If one of the strings breaks off, simply just take a lighter to it and burn it right back in the bracelet and it should be good. So I just wanted to get that out of the way before I started handing them out. So.
Thank you.
We're just going to give Maggie a moment to make sure everybody gets one if we just take a moment. Does anybody have any questions while bracelets are being passed out? Anything anybody wants to? Yes, sir.
Where's he buried at?
There, technically speaking, is not a burial. There was only, I think it was 3 vertebrae that they found left of him at the site here. So according to people that were part of it, if I'm understanding correctly, what ashes were left, his wife Eve arranged to have them. They're actually spread here. So he is here with us today as well.
Thank you.
Of course, yeah.
What time of day was the crash?
It was just after 5 o'clock in the evening. Does that sound familiar? Somebody else knows this one.
Right.
Is that right? Yep. 5 o'clock. That's right, Jess.
Where was he flying out of and going?
So Captain Ritter was flying from his last duty station as a trainer. He was training up-and-coming pilots from Selfridge Airfield in Michigan. And he was making a flight path. He started in Michigan, was going through Ohio. And it was the unfortunate part when he got to Pennsylvania that the snowstorm happened. What happened during the accident, what I just also got to read, and Matt, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but there was ice static that occurred that froze his instruments. And by the time he recovered, he did manage to get back control of the plane, but unfortunately it was too late. He was on his way to New York. Actually, apparently he was also going to be spending a little time visiting his parents when he arrived, and he never got home. So. Yes,
Are these remains of P-47?
that it is. It's the P-47 Thunderbolt. This is what's left, basically, of after the site's been pillaged and plundered and gone over, but there are still existing components throughout the area. Some people have some here, there's some elsewhere, but yep, that's basically what's left of his plane. And the crater was much deeper, just of course over time, dirt and sediment kind of filled it, so that's what we're looking at now.
Rick, would you tell the story of the stone and how that sort of all came about?
Well, I just recently learned how it really actually happened, so I'm going to do my best just to honor the work that you've done. Jess right here could actually tell you much more detail because he was part of it. So this is Jess Hackenberg, everybody.
I'm with the Lycoming County Veterans Council and the World War II 50th Anniversary Committee. And from a small child, being my father in the airplane business, we knew about this wreck. And I tried to sell it to people. We want to do something. From 91 to 96, we built a lot of monuments down in Williamsport. I couldn't get much interest because one man, one branch of the service, not in Lycoming County, and not killed in the war. It was hard to get the money. We had to pay $2,000 to get that stone. The man that found this, the hunter, one of the 4 or 5 hunters from Laconia, he has some pictures which I'm going to try to get for Rick of him standing in that hole on the back of that Pratt & Whitney R2800 on the turbo supercharger, and his shoulders, his head's just out of the hole. And you can see here where the wing and how the thing went straight in. It took a lot of years, 91 to 96, no interest, 97, 98, 99. Got some people interested, got some maps, got some Boy Scouts, got one young fellow a Eagle Scout Award, turned him loose at the bottom of the hill and sent him up here in the drove. We knew where it was, but we didn't know where it was. And once they found the spot, we went ahead and no disrespect to the Scouts, but the Scouts didn't do this job all. The Veterans Council and the Commemorative Committee raised the money. I had some World War II and Korean War vets drug that monument up here as close as we can get, drug it in here, made a base, set it up. We raised, I think, $2,000, and we put it up with a flag holder, which I don't see here anymore, and a flag, and understand a gentleman from Wellsboro comes down periodically and puts a flag on it. I'm glad to hear that. But this was something that should have been done years ago. And it was raising money for various monuments. It was one of the hardest sells I ever had to do because of the location and the timing and who, where, what. Half the people thought I was nuts. This doesn't exist till I drug some people out that knew about it. And I talked to Rick from that newspaper article the other day, called him on the phone, introduced myself. And I told him he ought to have a medal for what he and his group has done for this, because we wanted to do something. We think we did something, but now this is a follow-up. And when we had this dedication, we had in excess of 100 people. We had the Korean War vets of Lycoming County, a 7-man rifle squad, 3 shots each, a colors commander, a bugler. We had a couple members of the clergy, such as you have here. And it was a real deal. And then we all went home because we were wore out, we were tired. And it's like the guys that helped me, and I'm one of them, dragged that stone up here. Where was them Scouts when we needed them back? Everybody was playing touch tag football and gone. But it has been pillaged. It's my understanding. I thought the engine was still in the hole. I'd like to excavate it. Of course, it is a burial ground. I've been criticized for that. But I understand most of the airplane, to answer this gentleman's question, and the engine have been trucked to Wellsboro over the years.